Remember when that headline dropped in 2019 about the US wanting to buy Greenland? Yeah, most of us just kind of laughed it off, right? Another weird headline. But what if it wasn't a joke at all? What if it was just the latest move in a century-long game of strategy, obsession, and unbelievable value hidden right under the ice? See, to really get why America is so fascinated with this giant island, you have to dig way past the recent news. You have to follow a trail that goes back over 100 years. And believe it or not, it all boils down to a very direct, very simple question. That's it. How much? That's the question President Trump reportedly asked the Prime Minister of Denmark. And look, the delivery was, well, blunt. But the strategic thinking behind it, that was anything but new. Okay, let's really get into this.
Because this wasn't some random passing thought. Nope. This was the public revival of a very old, very serious American strategic goal. A goal that connects everything from Cold War nuclear defense to the minerals that are literally sitting inside your phone right now. Okay, first things first. Let's get one thing straight. This is not the first time the United States has tried to get its hands on Greenland. Not by a long shot. In fact, it's a recurring theme in American history.
I mean, this playbook is old. Go all the way back to 1867. Right after the U.S. bought Alaska, Secretary of State Seward was already looking into buying Greenland. Fast forward to 1917, the U.S. actually did buy Danish territory. We now call them the U.S. Virgin Islands. And then, get this, in 1946, President Truman made a formal offer of $100 million in solid gold for the island. So you see the pattern here. The question is, why? Why this obsession? The first and, honestly, the most important reason is just pure hard geography. In military strategy, you can sink a ship, you can shoot down a plane, but you can't sink an island. And Greenland, well, Greenland is maybe the most strategically placed island in the entire North Atlantic. It's the ultimate unsinkable aircraft carrier. To really get why Greenland is so powerful, you have to understand something called the GIU gap. It's the stretch of ocean between Greenland, Iceland, and the United Kingdom. And it's basically the front door for any navy, especially submarines, trying to get from the Arctic into the open Atlantic. For NATO, this gap is everything. It's a monitored kill zone absolutely layered with underwater sensors and patrol aircraft. Greenland forms the western wall of this entire defense system. So the bottom line is incredibly simple. If you control Greenland, you control the gate. You make it almost impossible for rival submarines to sneak out and threaten North America. And that brings us to the other absolutely crucial military factor, time. Think about it like this. A missile launched from Moscow has to travel about 5,000 miles to get to Washington. But from Greenland to Moscow, that's less than half the distance. Owning Greenland means you can put the world's most advanced early warning radar systems right on a rival's doorstep, basically doubling your reaction time. That's a game changer. Okay. So it's a military fortress. Got it. But that's not even half the story anymore. Because as all that ice melts, it's revealing that Greenland is sitting on a literal treasure chest of unbelievable wealth. We're talking about rare earth minerals. And no, these aren't just some obscure rocks. We are talking about the essential ingredients of all modern technology. The powerful magnets in electric cars and wind turbines, the guidance systems in fighter jets, the guts of your smartphone. So here's the kicker. Right now, China processes about 85% of the world's rare earth minerals. They have a near monopoly. That gives Beijing an incredible amount of leverage over pretty much every Western industry, from car manufacturing to defense. One decision in Beijing could shut down supply chains overnight. In Greenland, well, get this. Geologists estimate that just one single deposit in southern Greenland, just one, holds over 1 million metric tons of these critical materials. For the West, developing Greenland's resources is one of the only realistic ways to break that dangerous dependency on China.
And all of this, the military strategy, the resource rush, it's all happening against a new backdrop, a full-on global race for control of the Arctic. Climate change is opening up a brand new arena for competition at the top of the world.
For all of human history, the Arctic was a frozen wall, a dead end. Now, it's becoming a highway. New shipping routes are opening up that can cut 10, even 15 days off a trip from Asia to Europe. For shipping companies, that's billions of dollars in savings.
And this is no secret. China has been very open about its ambitions here. They've officially declared their plan to build a polar Silk Road, investing heavily in Arctic infrastructure to dominate the trade routes of the future.
And this is exactly why this matters.
Greenland sits right at the entrance of these new sea lanes. Whoever builds the deepwater ports, the refueling stations, the logistics hubs there, they basically get to be the toll booth operator for this whole new Arctic economy. The race is on.
But in all this talk about geopolitics and superpowers and resources, it is so easy to forget the most important element in this entire story: the 57,000 people who actually call Greenland home. And to understand their position in all of this, you really have to understand their history and their wounds.
Their relationship with outside powers is complicated, and it's scarred by history. Things like the Little Danes experiment in the 50s, where Inuit children were literally taken from their families for re-education in Denmark, which caused a deep cultural trauma that lasts to this day. Right now, the country is fighting a silent epidemic of suicide, one of the highest rates in the world. And as the ice melts, their traditional way of life, centered on hunting, is disappearing. The sled dog population has been cut in half. This is not empty land. It's a real society under immense pressure, dealing with a painful past and a very uncertain future.
So you take all of that, the immense military value, the buried treasure, this fragile but proud society, and you have to ask, how does a superpower actually gain control in the 21st century? Well, the answer is a lot more subtle and maybe a lot smarter than just writing a check.
Here's how the modern game is played. A lot of people in Greenland want independence from Denmark. You can't blame them. But here's the catch. Over half of their entire public budget comes from a $600 million annual check from Denmark. The moment they become independent, that money vanishes. They'd face an immediate, catastrophic financial crisis. And that's the independence trap. The strategy isn't to buy Greenland. It's to be the superpower that steps in to replace that Danish funding, becoming the new, indispensable partner. And in exchange for that financial lifeline, you gain immense strategic control. And just recently, this whole quiet, subtle geopolitical game, it got a lot louder. The subtext became text when a U.S. official publicly stated that using the military to secure American interests in Greenland is, quote, always an option. Now, the reaction from allies, especially in Europe, was swift and sharp. They warned that this kind of talk threatens the very foundations of international law. The whole conversation has shifted from a quirky real estate idea to a very serious national security flashpoint.
So the next time you hear someone talking about buying Greenland, you'll know it's not a joke. It's about military defense, it's about the future of technology, and it is absolutely about who gets to draw the new map of the world. As that ice pulls back, it's revealing something of immense value. The trillion-dollar question that remains is whether what's revealed will be opportunity or a new era of conflict.